Merlot.
Huge bit of irony in that movie, and I forget the character's name. When Miles goes to the diner with his bottle of 61 Cheval Blanc, which I have to tell you is a cosmic wine. I hope you get to taste it.
Yeah, me too.
But that wine is at least 30% Merlot. Hello.
Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as lovely as you used to be.
That's why I make a Merlot. It's not because there's that much demand out there or because people think it's hot. It's because I know that it makes fantastic wine, and it's an awesome grape. It's fun to work with. And I think that's kind of the secret that most of us winemakers or folks who sell wine know, is that it's actually an outstanding value and totally underappreciated. And the sideways effect just really blew it out of proportion. And I think most of us are tired of people feeling like they have to be apologetic for loving Merlot these days.
Merlot is the Rodney Dangerfield of varietals. You know, I don't get no respect.
They say I'm a bad guy, like hot to the bad guy. I come from the bottom, but now I'm mad fly. They say I'm a menace, that's the picture they paint. They say a lot about me, let me tell you what I ain't.
One of the common urban legends as to why Merlot became so popular is because it was really easy to pronounce. And I think that kind of doesn't do justice to the American consumer necessarily, but that's the rumor. And it became so popular that they planted it absolutely everywhere, and everybody and their mom started making it. Overproduced, maybe the quality wasn't always as great as it should be, then there was the inevitable backlash, right? But people who continued to still make Merlot in a very high quality fashion had always been making great Merlot.
A lot of those kind of mediocre Merlots, those overly light ones, are starting to go to the wayside, and the tried and true producers like us and others in Napa Valley and throughout California are truly producing Merlot in that original, more robust fashion.
Well, first of all, Americans were sold a bill of goods when it came to Merlot. They were taught early on that Merlot is just Cabernet without the tannin. It's not. It's actually a great wine on its own right. And in fact, if you taste the great Merlots of France, they have a lot of tannin. It's not a Cabernet light. It is a fascinating, rich, intense, wonderful red wine. And some of the greatest wines in the world are exclusively Merlot.
I'm a big Merlot fan. I think of Bordeaux when I think of Merlot. People don't poo-poo Bordeaux because it has Merlot in it.
You're going to find abundant Merlot, especially on the right bank of our region. You're going to have the appellation, for example, of Saint-Emilion and Pomerol that are going to use a majority of Merlot in their Bordeaux blends. Merlot is a fabulous grape. That's why we have it.
If someone asked me if I had to buy a red wine right now, what's my best hope for getting quality for value? I would go for Merlot over Cabernet, because the only Merlot in the market today is being grown in the right places.
I cannot think of a better place to talk about Merlot than the Red Room at Raymond, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Jean-Charles Boisset. This room's pretty sexy. Merlot is kind of a sexy wine, isn't it, don't you think?
Oh, it is, and it adds that fleshiness, which I love, and that softness, elegance, power, and at the same time, help every single blend. It's like a French kiss. It adds something to the party.
So a Merlot is like a French kiss. You got that? Well, if that's not a reason to drink Merlot, I don't know what is.
I'm very, very excited to have discovered personally Napa Valley Merlot, because as a French little boy, I was always going to Bordeaux. Merlot has always been adored by a certain kind of bird, which is the blackbird. The people in Bordeaux said this is very interesting, that it's always that blackbird in French named Merle that comes here, so we should name this variety Merlot.
And if you had to pick one Merlot, could you even do it? your favorite?
Between our two children, Buena Vista and Raymond. So maybe I'm going to pick the obvious, which was transcendental for me when I was 16. I went to Bordeaux and I discovered it in one of the most amazing places for Merlot is Petrus. So it's hard not to love Petrus because of how delicate and powerful it is. But I think Merlot in California is really taking the relay of what Merlot was in the 60s and 70s in France. And I really think of the amazing life of Merlot in California.
Merlot, I love you, let me jump in your game. Merlot, I love you, won't you tell me your name?
About a month ago, I had a Pride 2007, and it was superb.
But there are a few Merlots that are kind of my go-tos. You know, I think it's definitely a wine that is underappreciated. Péjou, and also 20 Rose. They actually produce a really nice Merlot.
We're here at Saint-Supri giving you a taste of their magnificent Merlot.
This Merlot is so spectacular because our winemaker has planted it where most people would choose to plant Cabernet Sauvignon. And so you have a complexity here that really shines through a depth. Our winemaker knows he's going to give it a lot of special treatment in the cellar because the reward is how happy people get.
Our Merlovin continues with the taste of Oberon Merlot. I am thrilled to be joined by winemaker Tony Coltrane.
This is the Michael Mondavi family's Napa Valley label right now, Oberon. It's a Merlot that's made from a very beautiful little vineyard that's right on the cusp of the fog in a little sub-valley called Wooden Valley, a part of the Napa Valley appellation.
Coombsville as a growing region for Merlot is just stellar. So for me, some of my very favorite Merlots come from Napa Valley. I'm a big fan of Forella.
I think Merlot is something that it can be everything from a everyday weeknight wine that's simple and casual but not simplistic, or it can be very serious as well.
You say goodbye, and I say
Merlot, Merlot, Merlot.
I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello.
I'll raise my glass to that. Hey, you had me at Merlot. Cheers. Merlot me.
Merlot me.
Merlot.
We'll open the bottle of wine and we can Merlot us.